This one is very interesting, and we know that CJ Perry, FK Lana in WWE, the wife of Miro, she did whatever the hell the Bailey show is, and she was asked if she received a contract offer from AEW. And this quote is directly from Fightful. Tony Khan runs his business however he'd like to run his business. I'm going to leave it at that. There is a reason why WWE is the greatest wrestling franchise and one of the greatest franchises in the world, and it's because they value sports entertainment, storytelling, and not just fighting for a, quote, wrestling title, unquote. But they value resolving conflict in the ring, and that's what makes wrestling special. You can fight over anything like Chris Jericho would fight over a list. Rusev fought in my honor so many times. I fought Summer Rae because she took my ex-boyfriend that I hated, and I wanted revenge. Those types of things are relatable and are relatable to women. A lot more women watch these stories where it's a soap opera where we resolve our conflict in the ring. That's what WWE is great at. Storytelling, bringing comedy battles, funny things, serious things. Personally, it's why I love WWE, because it's not just wrestling, it's entertainment as well. And I'm here to entertain and put smiles on faces, not just be the, quote, best wrestler, unquote. That's where I stand between the two different promotions. What a load of horse shit. Listen, if you want to say, oh, I prefer the WWE style of storytelling where they have to beat you over the head with anything that they call subtle, okay, that's fine. I think less of you as how you consume your entertainment, all right? I just do, because you're trying to tell me that it's subtle. No, it's like going to play The Legend of Zelda and having the strategy guy right next to you and have to be walked through every little detail. No, you're supposed to explore and figure some of this stuff out yourself. And then if you can, then you go to the strategy guide. So and to say that they don't resolve things in the ring in WWE, in AEW, that's kind of bullshit, isn't it? Like, how can you go through that whole thing and say, oh, that it's relatable stories? Just admit you don't watch the product and you're an absolute buffoon who just wants to get a second payday. And if you want to do that, that's fine. But I can't take you seriously.
No, I found this quote this morning and just thought it was very funny, because I think it really does highlight kind of the difference between people who like other styles of wrestling and those who are just, for lack of a better term, WWE pilled, where they only like what WWE does. And someone mentioned this in the writer's Slack, and I don't want to steal their thunder too much, so I'm just going to lightly touch on this, but I think they're very right, where they said that the whole generation of fans, which isn't the entire generation, but the portion of the generation of fans of the past 20 years or so, that have only been around with WWE as the one dominant company in North America post WCW's failure, really having kind of WWE pilled to where they only see this one style of storytelling and think that anything else is wrong and bad because it's not what they're used to. And I had never considered this before, but this person in the Slack mentioned that they think that this extends to the wrestlers. That there are people in wrestling now who did not grow up, with the Monday Night Wars or with other North American promotions or United States American, it's like blah, 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 American promotions. I can't talk today. Sorry. Where they just see WWE style of storytelling, and that's the only thing they can come up with. This past weekend, my wife and I watched a movie called Blades from 1990-ish, 89, which is a parody of Jaws done by Trauma Films. Only instead of a shark, it's set on a golf course and the monster is a lawnmower. It is a bonkers movie, and it is more subtle than WWE storytelling. And they're playing, they're playing it very broad in this movie. The idea that you and I, we can't get on board with this idea that WWE storytelling is the correct way to do storytelling, because it's, I think if you really pay attention to anything else, whether it be other styles of wrestling, or if you just watch movies or TV, like prestige TV or whatever, like you would watch this and you'd be like, this is bad storytelling. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you AEW is doing Shakespeare every week, but it's at least, feels more grounded, I think, than what you're getting now with like the Alexa Bliss storyline with the Fiendess coming back and the Uncle Howdy masks in the crowd and other nonsense. But yeah, I mean, I just think that it's in part like this is not only what a certain percentage of the fans expect. I also think it's what a certain percentage of the wrestlers expect, and that could be part of why, like, you know, Miro's unhappy or Andrade's unhappy or other guys who spend a lot of time in the WWE system are unhappy. And I think Rob Viper had a good Twitter thread recently where he talked about this and talked about how some people coming in from WWE are approaching it like, you know, when Impact signed some big names back around 2010, people like Rob Van Dam and Booker T came in just seeing it as an easy paycheck. And I think there's probably some people coming in that are kind of seeing it that way. That they're in a secondary group and they're just fighting their time until they get back to the one major league. And I think that is a problem that AEW probably should consider moving forward when it comes to signing people that leave WWE. You know, for every Moxley, you're going to get someone that is unhappy with not being in WWE, and probably more than one person per Moxley. Like maybe Sasha Banks will come and will be happy because she'll get to just do wrestling. If that happens, yeah, that'd be great. But if Sasha Banks comes in and is, I don't think this is the case, but possibly, you know, she's angry because she was in WWE, felt that was the big time and wants to go back to prove, you know, like that's her entire goal, then her time in AEW could be a disappointment.
Are you kind of talking like a Cody Rhodes arc?
You know, I thought Cody at least took AEW seriously. You know, I definitely don't think Cody thought that AEW was like a AAA baseball team or something.
I guess what I mean by that is just I'm going to leave, build myself back up so you take me more serious. Like we saw with Cody, we saw it with Drew McIntyre, because Drew had that great run in Impact.
I'm talking less Drew McIntyre and Impact and PWG and the other indies, and more like Booker T leaving, you know, getting cut and going to Impact because they're paying him, but not wanting to be in TNA because he thinks that they're second rate, which, you know, you can make that argument, obviously. Yeah. But I mean, AEW is not being run like Impact / TNA at that point in time. AEW is a much more serious product that is much more competently run. But I think if you're still coming in viewing it as a second tier promotion, then that can very much be detrimental to the product.
It absolutely can. This is something that we're going to unfortunately have to touch on for probably the majority of the next 25 years, because so many fans that grew up with only WWE are just going to be so pilled that, oh, this company's been around. It's the only company that's been around. This is how you have to do things. No, that's not how it works. That's not how innovation happens. Can you imagine going to General Mills and telling them, oh, you made cornflakes. You should only make cornflakes because it's been so successful. You shouldn't try to make other cereals. Well, then how in the world are you going to get other cereals? How are you going to get Frosted Flakes? How are you going to get Cheerios, Honey Nut Cheerios, Lucky Charms, Fruity Pebbles? Like there's a reason why innovation is a good thing, and we just have to be accepting of it as a general whole. And it's inherently annoying and frustrating and quite frankly maddening that there's so many people who just refuse to allow that to happen or even be considered. This isn't a dictatorship. This is why capitalism is believed to thrive. And let's not get political here. You know, I know I'm mentioning dictatorship and capitalism, but it's about having a free market and being able to do what you want to be successful. And AEW is doing their version of pro wrestling. It is very successful. It resonates with a large portion of wrestling fans in this country. And you can't just go and be like, hey, this, that, and the other thing. That's not how it works, man. Just lighten up. Be accepting.
Yeah, it's very interesting and something I hadn't really given much consideration before. And something worth considering more going forward. You know, it's just kind of unfortunate that we've had this happen to wrestling. It'd be like, you know, there's concerns within cinema, the films, whatever you want to call it, movies, that everything's going to be Marvelized because of how successful their films have been and how they have a very consistent style. And, you know, the concern is that other people are going to try to copy that. And I think DC has tried that to different extents. And there's been other attempts at, you know, creating different film universes that have flopped, like the short-lived attempt at the Universal Monsters one that Tom Cruise starred in the new update of The Mummy that kind of was quickly forgotten. But I mean, this is it's a concern when you have a monopolistic force within a market and people only really consider what that, like that's the trendsetter and that's all people use as a frame of reference. And that's bad. It's not good.
No, it's not good, but we can kind of move on because there's only so much arguing that we're going to be able to do about WWE because, well, quite frankly, we agree on most of it.